always there.
Today on One, your daily dose of local affairs and social media commentary.
Today on One, striking Shoprite Checkers employees call politicians ignorant. Nida leaves injured father of 4 on the streets. Children flocking to beaches in Walvis Bay a concern to authorities. And 2020 an interesting year, says Johan Muller.
Striking Shoprite and Checkers employees are calling on politicians to stop being ignorant and come to their aid, as they have been embarking on nationwide strikes for over 5 years now, pleading for their cries to be heard. Represented by the Namibian Food and Allied Workers Union, the workers are now dragging the retail giant to court. Shoprite and Checkers workers shed tears at the recent strike at Marua Mall, as they claim that they have been suffering for years with their employers not giving them decent salaries. The group says that they earn about 300 Namibian dollars per week, or up to 1,800 Namibian dollars per month. They are pleading with the Namibian politicians to intervene and stop being ignorant about the matter.
Please, the nation, the president himself, you are there living a luxurious life. You are living your life the way you feel like living. We voted for you. We took you back to that seat where you are today. So prove that you are the Namibian father. We want to see you step in this matter. Otherwise, Shoprite has to go back to South Africa. Because South African people, they are receiving what they want. They are receiving what they really require to receive. Angola, Botswana, wherever the Shoprite is, people have been paid nice. It's only Namibia.
Namibian, we want you. Where are you? Politician, where are you? Not too long ago in November last year, you were here. We were seeing you every day, everywhere in the streets, talking, come vote for me, I will give this. Come vote for me, I will give this. But now, you cannot even drive your car. Or any government official drive a car here, come, what is going on? No one is coming to our help. We want your help. We want your help, Namibian nation. We are here. This is not a joke. Really, it's not a joke.
Labour expert Herbert Yao applauded the workers for standing up for their rights.
Shoprite is not a poor company that cannot afford what you are asking them to pay. They can afford. And what they do every time is they pretend as if they are working within the law. Just because there is no minimum wage for Shoprite workers or for retail workers in general, they think they can pay you starvation wages, whatever they want you to pay. This is the typical arrogance of large corporations. How do they expect someone to survive on 2,000 or 2,500 Namibia dollars? So when you say we want not a lot, just 600 more, that's not a lot for a company like Shoprite. You are just demanding the absolute minimum that they must give you. And what do? First, they drag out the negotiations. Then, they bring in scab labor, people to do your work while you are on a legal strike. And that is breaking the Namibian law. I hear Shoprite is not even coming back to the negotiation table yet. That's another unfair labor practice. They need to negotiate and accommodate you. And what we need to do in support of your struggle is, as consumers, we will not buy at Shoprite Checkers USafe until they meet your demands.
Absalom Willem, the Deputy Secretary of NAFAO, said that the board has broken the laws of the Constitution by hiring and replacing the workers that are taking part in the strike.
We wrote the letter to the Minister of Labour, whereby we asked the Minister of Labour to call the CEO of the company or the owner of the company to come to the wage negotiation table. And so far, there's no response from the Minister. So there's no response from the Minister. As a result of that, we wrote a letter to the Prime Minister today. Today, we wrote a letter to the Prime Minister whereby we're asking the Prime Minister to call the owner or the CEO of the company to come to the table for us to resolve the strike. So, we are now waiting the Prime Minister to respond to our letter. So we give them up to next week, Tuesday, to call a meeting. Next week, Prime Minister must respond to us.
The employees, together with their union, are awaiting to hear the court's ruling tomorrow and hope that the court rules in their favor.
State entity, the Namibia Industrial Development Agency, NIDA, has been accused of dismissing employees that are injured at work and ignoring medical officials' recommendations that they be assigned for light-duty work. Joseph Ndara says he is one of the employees whose contract was terminated by NIDA's management after he refused to continue with work that could leave him permanently disabled. Ndara has been a general worker for NIDA's cattle farm in Kavango West since 2008. In 2015, he was injured on duty, and after seeking medical attention, doctors recommended that the agency should give him light-duty work. However, he says the supervisor refused to comply and instead forced him to take sick leave. The union NAFAO was also called in, as well as an insurance firm, to cover his income while on leave.
When I brought that letter, the company didn't accept it. They sent me to the normal duty, which is a physical duty. I worked up, I go through the work. From there, then they decided again. I decided myself, no, I'm feeling pain. I went back to the doctor. The doctor, it is where he said that your company are not following what the doctor has been written to you. I say, yes, they are just taking on their opinion. Then from there, it is where a doctor wrote for me a letter that I'm now permanent disability. And while I know it is a parastatal company, it is not a specific farm to decide that on my farm I doesn't want to work with the injured person. And as a government treating the people like this, it is not quite good. It is unfair labor practical.
Dara said that he is not the first to receive such treatment from the agency, noting that a colleague suffered the same fate and his health condition deteriorated up to the point that he was permanently disabled.
There is one of my colleagues, his name is Kasiki Theodore. He was recommended to light duty, which means the company failed up to give him light duty because Satan they given him 3 times light duty. When they get up the standard, the company tried to resend him to the normal duty. What happened to Mr. Kasiki Theodore? Now he's laying on the bed. He is no more walking. He just now laying down on the bed. The company are no more assisting him. Going to the toilet, his wife is the one who's taking care for him.
Approached for comment, the Namibian Food and Allied Workers Union NAFAU confirmed that they are aware of the matter and that it has been brought before the Labour Commissioner.
Our position is that we refer the matter to Labour Commissioner. The case was declared as unfair dismissal to the Office of the Labour Commissioner. It was attended the first step in the conciliation, so it was not then postponed to arbitration. So now we are waiting the date of arbitration for the matter to proceed. The Matandala is not in a severe or critical condition. He can work. He can work. He's fit for work, although it's not fit to execute a normal duty as usually. But little by little, when he recovers, he can able to do the work. Therefore, the doctor was recommending that he must do another duty while he is now continuing recovering. The company must reinstate the Mastandala and give him another duty. And we receive a salary from Sanlam, it's a medical fund, something like that.
Absalom and Ndara agree that a favorable solution would be to reinstate Ndara as he is able to continue with light duty work. Another human resources employee that has been dealing with the matter declined to comment and directed today on one to another official who could not be reached.
Win free airtime with One Africa TV. Share your comments on the channel. WhatsApp your feedback, name and town to 081 200 6659. One Africa TV. It just gets better.
Community Voices proudly brought to you by Namdeb Diamond Corporation. Good today, better tomorrow.
Children from the coastal town of Walvis Bay have been flocking to the beach to escape boredom, and this is expected to be a daily occurrence as schools will be opening later than usual. Authorities are however concerned because they go unsupervised while daring the deep sea on self-made floating devices. As the festive season comes to an end, life continues as normal for the residents of Walvis Bay, except for children who will still be out of school for another 2 weeks. The beaches are full of unsupervised children as most parents return to work.
It's to make you so you can float. Maybe you go far, you go deeper, you fall off from the safety, and you float you because we're having the bottles together with the dustbins. All of the bottles.
Children can be seen with improvised floating devices which give them confidence to swim further from the shore. According to the local swimming instructor, is very dangerous.
They are using floating device which is not recommended. They are using empty bottles of Coca-Cola. They are tying themselves around, which means that is very dangerous. Sometimes that cover can go out, then the bottles are filling up with the water, then they drown. Or it will end up that bottle get off of their waist, then they will drown also. Or if the rip current will come, they will take them along because it's floating. When they see that they are far from the shore, what they're going to do, they will remove those bottles. From there they will drown. That's why the drowning cases in our country is very high. It's increasing. Each and every day we are receiving a report. So my advice to our parents is, at least they must buy, if they cannot afford to buy the life jacket, at least a simple floating device like this noodle or this one, the floating belt, or they must just register them with local swimming clubs in our communities for them to know how to swim and for them to know how to float. That will be better for our community. We will save our kids.
According to the Erongo Regional Police Community Affairs Inspector Eleni Shapumba, such acts are dangerous as incidences like drowning and transmissions of COVID-19 can occur. He appeals for parents to be vigilant and to inform the kids of the dangers or direct them to safer places to swim where there are lifeguards.
Community Voices proudly brought to you by Namdeb Diamond Corporation. Good today, better tomorrow.
Currently one of the fastest growing sports in Namibia, cricket has shown a great sign of success over the years, with more Namibians building an interest in the sport. Cricket Namibia CEO Johan Miller has described 2020 as an interesting year and is looking forward to the 2021 calendar year. Speaking to Today on One Sports Desk, Cricket Namibia CEO Johan Miller described 2020 for cricket in Namibia as a success in the domestic front, despite the postponement of international competitions due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
On the domestic front, we've been very fortunate. We were able to play all our domestic cricket. We were able to increase our programs. We increased the number of schools and women's programs quite a lot in this year. On an international basis, though, we couldn't play in any international cricket. Obviously, there were no countries touring in and out, so all the international content got lost. And in lost, I actually only mean postponed. So for 2020, we didn't participate in any international competitions, but all of them only got moved a year later. So fortunately for us as a cricket country, but also for the people of the country who wants to watch international cricket, that we didn't lose out on any content. It's literally just a postponement of it. 2020 was a different year. We focused on the positives of COVID. We were fortunate that COVID, especially the lockdown period, came right in the middle of our off-season. So it didn't really restrict our on-field domestic products. But we used that 3 or 4 months of lockdown to really upskill our staff, upskill our players, to move forward in terms of how we work administratively, how we handle logistics better, how we communicate to our stakeholders better. So we've set up quite a lot of our planning in that period. We're very positive and pleased about especially the increase in participation and tournaments of our school program. We for the first time had a central tournament where only central schools participated, and the first ever National Schools Week in December, where the top players in every age group participated in a national week. We were very fortunate to get our national women's coach into the mix and get him started up and running programs fluently. And we had a lovely women's week at the end of the year with a junior section and a senior section. And at that week we announced the top 14 players that formulates our national women's squad.
After successfully hosting competitions such as the National School Week in 2020, Miller further highlighted the key objectives for cricket in 2021.
Initially, when COVID-19 struck, everyone thought about a 6-month interference. But it's very clear if you read up on it and you see the time frame for vaccines and what other countries are doing in terms of travel regulations, is that it might only start opening up towards the end of the year. So we still have to plan for the fact that our cricket programs can be disrupted. We have to focus on our domestic projects and products quite intensely, which means that we need to up the level of our club cricket, up the level of our schools cricket, the exposure we provide for our club and schools cricket, also for our women's cricket, and the sponsorships connected to that, to make sure that the value for our commercial partners lies in our domestic product, not only in our international product. We've got a big role to play to make sure that what we've started domestically improves and increases even further in this coming year. We really set ourselves some very high goals for this coming year in terms of participation numbers, also in terms of active programs and efficiency levels.
Namibia will be hosting 3 ICC tournaments in 2021 to 2023.
Win free airtime with hashtag #LearnOn1. Share your comments on the lessons. SMS your feedback, name and town to 555. Hashtag #LearnOn1. Invite learning in.
In other leading stories, the Development Bank of Namibia and the Development Bank of Germany recently signed an interest-reduced loan agreement of approximately 455 million Namibia dollars. KWF provides refinancing for DBN's non-agricultural small business loan scheme, which forms an integral part of the Ministry of Finance's economic stimulus and relief package to mitigate the impact of COVID-19. DBN will provide the actual loans to non-agricultural SMEs that have experienced significant losses of income as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. The relief measure is aimed at supporting cash flows and continued economic productive activities. The loans can also be used for investing into new business areas that help strengthen resilience of companies for future shocks. The loan is backed by the government guarantee, underscoring the resolve of the government of the Republic of Namibia to promote access to affordable finance for SMEs, especially during these unprecedented times. The DBN forecasts that the funding offers much sought financial relief to around 200 SMEs. Although the bank will, through its normal SME lending window, give attention to startups, the overwhelming priority for this COVID-19 relief measure loans will be to preserve business continuity and hopefully preserve jobs.
Welcome to Comments Corner, your daily dose of local comments from the hottest social media pages. A young entrepreneur who specializes in construction says the industry can bring an end to the housing challenge if it embraces cheap manufacturing systems and makes housing more affordable in urban areas for low-income earners. Joey said this is a great innovation and the young entrepreneur should get support to end the housing issue. CJ said the business should be expanded to the coast where shacks burn on a weekly basis. Pala said that is how it is done and not for one to wait for a pension fund payout. Keddy said that he will support the initiative. Jimmy tagged in the Windhoek mayor and said here is something for him. A total number of 13 COVID-19 deaths were reported by the Minister of Health, Kalumbi Shangula, yesterday. 7 are from the Windhoek district, 2 from Khobabos district, and 1 each from Walfish Bay, Rehoboth, Oshakati, and Kidmanshoop districts. The total number of deaths now stands at 235. Alfred said the sitting at bars should stop and be replaced with a takeaway rule. Stanley said the world is on lockdown and for Namibia the pandemic is getting worse. Ronnie said public gatherings are limited to only 50 people, but the carrying capacity of buses is 80 persons. Sioni said people traveling via public transport should be allowed to reach their destinations and masks should not be made mandatory at all times. Aicha said the minister is only worried about COVID and forgetting about other diseases. And that is all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast every day only on TDN1.
Today, I'm joined by a panel of men. As per usual, we men get to talk about what we men really talk about. The program aims to make sure that what is left in the dark definitely comes to light.
I did see my father physically abusing my mother. So I didn't grow up with that I should beat a woman, because I hated what my dad did to my mom.
You know, whether this older woman does it with you, whether she, violates you, it's sort of seen that boosts your ego as a man.
Was that as a young man, I think at 17, 18, I started dating and realized that it's a very fascinating thing to have sex and so forth. So we had lots of what we call friends with benefits.
A look at the weather forecast. First, a warning from the Windhoek Met Office. Heavy rainfall with flash floods are possible in the Otjadon-Jupa, Kavango, Omaheke North and parts of the central northern areas tomorrow, so please do take the necessary precautions. The Namibia interior partly cloudy and hot in the extreme northwest, extreme west and the Klares region. Elsewhere cloudy and warm to hot with a few to isolated thunder showers, but scattered to widespread thunder showers in the Otjadon-Jupa, Kavango, Omaheke North and parts of the central northern areas.
I'm feeling so bad because of I have been arrested. We are trying to sell to provide our kids with food, but the police, they come to arrest us.
I was literally apprehended in Independence Avenue. I mean, there was no prior communications with the police or with Bonn or Benga Namibia. These guys literally just apprehended us on surprise.
And when you are talking in a manner that is exaggerated about brutality in this country, I should ask you in which country you live.
Yes, I can confirm that indeed there were 2 cell phones that were found after a search was conducted at the cells that the Fish Road accused us staying.
Do you understand the amount of money that the government has spent on the fight against COVID-19? Could they have spent 300 million on tracing people and managing people? Is that even possible?
BBC World News, the biggest African and international news stories focus on